Y'all, today I'm going to make a down-home southern favorite. We're talking pecan pie. Pecan, it's pecan. So I'm going to start with 3 cups of pecans that I'm going to toast. So my oven is preheated to 350 degrees. I'm going to spread these out in a single layer. And I'm going to pop them in the oven for about 10 minutes until my whole house smells like pecans. So our pecans are nice and toasted, that nice golden brown. We're going to let these cool and then we're going to chop them up. And in the meantime, we're going to work on our crust. So pecan pie, the filling for a pecan pie takes about an hour to cook. And we need to bake our crust first, just a little. So I've preheated the oven to 375, up from the 350 that the pecans toasted at. I have rolled out my pie crust, made my fancy border. Now I'm going to put a piece of aluminum foil in the middle. And then I have, most people have pie weights. I have pinto beans because we don't pay for the pie weights. So it's just a bag, another aluminum foil container of beans. I make sure that they're in every little nook and cranny. This is going to make sure that the pie does not rise and have bumps in it while it cooks. It's going to keep it in the shape that we want it in that pan. So we're going to put this in the oven, 375 for 25 minutes until it's slightly cooked. So while our crust is baking, we're going to work on the filling. So with pecan pie, I want the crust to still be warm when I add the filling to it. I don't want it to cool off. So we got to work simultaneously. So I have my pecans. I'm going to start chopping coarsely. There's no rhyme or reason to this. And I need 2 cups. So I started with 3 cups of halved pecans because they take up more space. And while I'm chopping these up, I don't know if you can see behind me, but I have 6 tablespoons of butter melting on the stove. All right, we have our 2 cups of pecans. Now what I have left over, I can keep for another date when we want to make pecan pie, or we can just chew on them because we like toasted pecans. Now I'm going to check on my butter, and then I'll be back. So I have 6 tablespoons of butter melted. To that, I'm going to add a packed cup of dark brown sugar. We want to make sure that gets completely incorporated before we add anything else. Now we're going to whisk in 3 eggs. Then I have a half a teaspoon of salt. I'll whisk that into. And then I have 3/4 of a cup of light corn syrup. and a tablespoon of vanilla. And then we're going to put this back on the stove in a skillet that has just an inch of water in the bottom that's simmering. We don't want to cook this in a pot because the eggs will scramble inside. So we're cooking it in water, in a water bath basically, to let it all heat up slowly. And there we go, back to the stove. So I have a big saucepan with about 1/2 inch of water in the bottom that is simmering, and I'm just going to cook this until it gets nice and shiny. It thickens up a little, and then I have a thermometer to make sure it's at 130 degrees when I think it's reached. This takes about 5 or 10 minutes, and you just stand here and stir while it happens. And we're at 130. So all we're going to do now, we're going to turn the water off. It's boiling under. We're going to pick this up. Now I'm going to stir in the pecans. So, remember those 2 cups of pecans we toasted? And then we wait. Our pie crust has 7 more minutes. And once it comes out of the oven, we'll pour this straight in, reduce the heat, and finish cooking our pecan pie. Our crust is finally ready. I have reduced the heat to 275 degrees from 375. I'm going to pull this up. See how pretty that crust looks? Now all I'm going to do is pour the filling into the pecan pie. We're going to pop this in the oven at 275 for an hour, and then we'll be ready. So our pecan pie is out of the oven, and look how beautiful it looks. We're going to wait for this to cool off before we can dive in and eat some.